All right, welcome back. Another episode of the JT Exchange podcast. I am joined today by one of our senior captains, Katie. Katie, how are you?
Good.
You're
How
not
are
a
you?
senior, you're a junior.
Junior.
Our junior captains. Doing well?
Yep.
Good. And Coach Goodspeed's here with us, pole vault coach.
Hello.
Coach, welcome back. So let's get into it. We're going to, go over this past weekend's meet a little bit. Talk to you, Katie, go over some of the pole vaulters' accolades over the weekend. So we, bright and early, had a real early trip for most people up to Wojton this weekend. For those who don't know, Houghton's about 3 hours north of Susquehanna, and it was very cold. Probably the coldest away meet we've had in a long, long time. But, Katie, what are your first impressions of the facility when you got there? What did you think?
I thought it was really nice. I really like the wide turns. They're good for longer sprints. So even the 400 and 800, they're really good for. But also for the longer races when you're doing so many laps. And it could take a toll on, your hips and stuff. So it's nice to have those wide turns. Straightaways felt really short.
Yeah, and Coach Goodspeed, what about vault or field events?
Oh, it looked pretty good. Looked a little on the center of the field. Was going to be a little crowded just because of the long jump runways heading straight through the center of the track. But other than that, everyone kind of made do with their warm-ups and whatnot. So, there was plenty of space, especially when you got to the outside of the track.
Yeah, I think it wasn't a very large meet. There was only, I think, 6 other schools plus us. We're a large roster, so we take up a lot of space. But definitely ended up being, very great facility for us, especially late January meet. We took 75 people up to compete and had some really great performances across the board. I think we really did a great job of supporting one another. We brought a lot of energy, had a good amount of PRs. I know on the women's side, we had a total of 19 personal bests, which is great. And on the men's side, we had 21. So that is also great. Few regional qualifiers. We'll get into a little bit more detail. But some events that kind of stood out to me was the women's 5K. That we had, I think, 8 competitors in the women's 5K, and all 8 had personal bests. I know Sophia Bostwick, she hit an AARTFC qualifying mark, but I know a lot of your teammates had huge PRs, compared to indoor and outdoor and whatnot. But what can you say about the women's 5K group this weekend?
Yeah, they just continue to impress me. Even in workouts, they're always in big packs. 4 of them, it was their 5K on the track. It was their debut, but even from cross country, had huge PRs. So Sydney actually being mid-distance last year, she's one of the ones that transferred over to the 5K. So she did a great job. Her and Jupe, or Juliana, when you call her Jupe. But
Jupe? That's what we call her?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's actually the second week in a row. They finished within the same tenth of a second. So in the mile last week, they ran together. And then this past weekend in the 5K, they did a great job working together. Allison and Emilia coming back from being abroad. 2 of the best people I've seen that come back from being abroad in better shape than when they left. So they did a great job. I think they came in at 20:02 and 20:06. So they were our second and third finishers for the team.
Yeah, that group has, as you said, they've just continued to grind and put out great performances week in, week out, which is awesome. Some other highlights, Alyssa Varias, she actually made it into our top 10 twice this weekend. Her prelims time put her 10th, but then she improved again in the finals, so she is now 9th all-time on our 60 hurdle list. Ashley Newman, another captain, she actually won the 400 meter, just off her indoor PR, but she definitely had a great time there. Denicia, she won the triple jump as well. Again, she's just off her personal best in that event. But probably the highlight, at least to me, I think would be Kendall Sims. The pole vaulters as a whole had a good weekend. We'll stick with just the women right now. So Kendall Sims, she's first year from Montoursville area high school. Ends up setting the school record in her second collegiate meet. Battled through some adversity. Well, what can you say about Kendall and her performance this weekend?
I would say it was a good performance. We were able to, during the preseason when we came back, she dropped a weight on her foot, so we at least were able to dodge a bullet there with it possibly being a fracture. Luckily, it was just soft tissue, and she was able to kind of take a week off, take the one meet that we had home to enter the new year, take that off, and then come back on some bigger poles too from where she was at the end of last semester. So to come off of that injury, get onto some new poles, and then to have the performance she did. I mean, I know she coming out of high school, she was already a good vaulter, and we're getting back to where she was before. But to come back and to get back on trajectory of where we wanted to have her like 2 weeks ago, and to come right back in and do it. It's a good starting point, at least at this point in the indoor season. We still have about 4 weeks left until indoor championships. So there's only one way to go from here, and hopefully it's still moving upwards. But to come in and not only break it for the qualifying standard for regionals, which was 3:32, and our previous school record was 3:30, that was set by a alumni last year, senior. So to have that broken right away, but then to hit that and then only improve it further with a further jump of 3:42, which for you in the American system is roughly 11'3". So it's a good start, and hopefully we can continue improving upon it from here on out.
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, she's very tough. She's got to be a little bit more careful in the weight room, but she's tough, and she showed that, and bright future ahead of her for sure. So great job to her. Congratulations, coach. Also, a couple throws had some decent PRs this weekend. I know Bella Doberman on her last throw had a huge PR, and she just missed winning the meet by just a couple centimeters. But overall, the women did really well. So, as we shift over to the men, we had two AARTFC qualifiers with Dominic Santos, who I think you'd have to go back and check, but for the first time, to my knowledge, ran faster in the finals than he did in the prelims. Dom has had a history of just coming back and not being able to knock the rust off before that final, but he did qualify for the ARTFC championships in the 60. And then sophomore Derek Blair continues, his strong efforts in the distance side of things. He had a big PR. I mean, he had never technically run an indoor 5K, but he did qualify for the AARTFCs, along with his 4 other teammates in the 5K that all had PRs. So I'd mentioned that 21 people on the men's side had PRs. But I want to come back to the pole vaulters. We had a strong showing from them as well on the men's side, specifically Thomas Stitt. He's a senior now. He's battled through some injuries throughout his career, and he just, continues to work hard. And what did he end up doing today or this weekend?
So he was finally able to tie his lifetime PR of 385 after about 2 years, I want to say. So he's a senior now. Last time he hit that mark was, I believe, his sophomore year. He says his freshman year, but I think it was sometime during his sophomore year that he hit that mark, and he hasn't hit it since last year during his junior year. He started to suffer some shoulder injuries, and then some hamstring and groin stuff has flared up for him. So we've been kind of trying to get him back into form, starting with last semester, and just trying to keep him as healthy as possible. And finally now, this past weekend, it kind of all clicked. I know he's been struggling with some no heights and stuff as he's been coming and trying to get back into form, but finally getting him on, and even doing it from a shorter approach than where he had previously done it. So I know typically his furthest approach was a 6-step that we've been working on, but this past weekend from a 5-step he was able to tie his lifetime PR. So hopefully coming back from this, we're going to give him a weekend off and hopefully just give him the rest that he needs to continue to recover from his injury and not overdo it, to hopefully not flare it back up. But then continue and hopefully get him back on that 6, and maybe within the coming weeks then we can maybe fully break that PR and get him hopefully into the 4-meter club.
Yeah, he's, like I said, he's worked really hard. He also had a first-year Max. He also PR'd in the pole vault, which is great. So good things happening in the vault. Definitely across the board, though, we had a couple sprinters that had PRs in both the 60 and the 2. Some throwers, once again, that also double PR'd in shot put or weight, or some of them just one or the other. So strong weekend all around. Excuse me. Is that still recording?
Yeah.
Okay. I know a phone call came in, so just want to make sure. But so, Katie, let's get into it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how you came to SU.
So I'm from Lehighton, Pennsylvania, which is like an hour and 45 minutes east around the Allentown area. And really, SU was just the perfect mix of academics and sports. I was looking at a bunch of other schools where I wouldn't have done track. So that was a big thing for me. And I met a lot of my now teammates on one of our recruit days. I met Emilia and Seth and some other people. But really, it was the mix of really good business school because I'm an accounting and finance double major, and just the immediate welcome you feel when you come here. So it was a great experience. And honestly, it sounds like cliche, but when I stepped on here, I felt like it was home. And after meeting the coaches and everything, I felt really comfortable, and I knew that I wanted to continue my track career.
That's great. So, I guess you're only a junior. Do you have any like internships or plans for the upcoming year?
Yeah, this summer I'll be interning with KPMG in Pittsburgh as a tax intern. So I'm looking forward to that.
Sounds awful for me, but great for you. That's cool. And what are some of your favorite things? Maybe not about track, or you did cross as well. So what are some of your favorite activities that you do? Maybe that doesn't involve running, with your teammates.
Yeah, in high school I did basketball. So basketball is besides track and cross country is definitely my favorite sport. I love watching basketball. I'm a big fan of the Yukon Huskies women's basketball team. Um, but some other stuff. I love watching Dancing with the Stars.
Is that
That's
a team activity?
Yes, that is a team activity. We used to have like 3 or 4 of the girls would come to my house, and I would make dinner for them. We'd watch Dancing with the Stars, and that was a big team activity this year
I do
that I
gotta
did with some of the
ask.
girls.
So food's a big part of my life. You said you made dinner. What
Yes.
dinner was on the menu for the Dancing with the Stars evenings?
Oh my gosh, it depends. So one night I made lasagna soup, which was really good.
Rowan would love to hear this. Rowan loves soup.
Rowan does love soup. Lasagna soup, cheeseburger pasta is one of their favorites, like homemade hamburger helper. Um, Juliana's favorite is penny vodka
Yeah, so
with
Juice.
chicken.
Juice
Yeah.
loves the penny vodka.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Any advice you can give to some of your teammates as we, I guess, progress throughout this long indoor season?
Yeah, I would say just stay in it, take it day by day. Rely on your teammates. I think everybody is so good at being supportive now, especially with the distance group. I see it all the time. They're always running in a pack and everything, which is good. And just do the little things, stretching after you're done, staying a little bit later. That'll help you a lot. I feel like we do a really good job of supporting one another. So if you can grab someone and say, hey, we should stretch together, we should do this, I think that is really good moving forward, and it's going to keep everyone healthy.
Great. So let's fast forward for the next few days. We've got the Ithaca College Bomber Invite. This is a meet we've been going to for as long as I've been here. Usually lots of good competition. Definitely starting earlier this year than I think it has in the past. So that's also a 3-hour trip. So some of these events starting at 9:30. What might be a strategy you have to getting your men's pole vaulters ready to go that early in the morning?
Well, so for them, with the competition starting at 9:30, NCAA has warm-up time of an hour and a half for the vault. So they'll have to be ready to go, get on the runway if it's a full competition at 8 in the morning. So for them, since we'll probably be going up the night before, so biggest thing for them will be get up at a decent time, make sure you get your sleep, but get up enough time, probably about 2 hours before we want to be on the runway, which would be 8 o'clock. So be up around 6 a.m., get your meal, get situated, get the food and everything you need in you fuel-wise at least an hour before, so that once you step on the runway, you're fueled, you're hydrated, and you're just ready to hit the ground running.
Yeah, I know this past weekend we had all those 5K girls basically got off the van and had to step on the track within about an hour. At least, going up a little bit early, they're not confined and can stretch out and be ready to go the night before. What are some events you're looking forward to seeing this upcoming weekend, Katie?
I think a lot of the people who are in the 5K are going to be running the 3K this weekend, so I'm excited for that. I'm excited for Grian. Grian was our number 2 girl all of cross-country season, and she didn't get the opportunity to compete the past 2 weeks due to a little bit of an injury she had going on. So I'm excited to see what she could do this weekend in the 3K. And then a couple of the mid-distance girls are going to be running open 8s. So I'm going to be excited to see what they can do fresh and how we can do in the 800.
Yeah, I think that the 3K I'm excited to see both on the men's and the women's side because those groups have been doing so well. So hopefully that continues. I know for The men's side, we're going to focus a lot on relays this weekend. So we're actually going to run a 4x2, hopefully run a true A 4x4 as close to the A as we can get. But we do have the multi this weekend. We're only a couple guys competing. Excited to see Rowan, one of our seniors, get out there. Could be his last indoor multi, who knows? And then a freshman, Liam Messina, who's done a really good job. He works really hard. He always has a smile on his face, regardless if he's doing bad or not. So I appreciate that. So I'm excited to see them. I think the pole vault competition does usually be pretty good at Ithaca. They have a very strong tradition of good pole vaulters at Ithaca College, and all across the board, I think sprints tends to do really well here. It is another wider radius track, but for some reason the straights tend to run pretty well here as well. Like our hurdlers have always historically done well, so excited to see them. But yeah, it's gonna be another cold weekend. Hopefully we don't get any more snow. But yeah, we're excited to get up there, compete another weekend. And yeah, thank you guys for joining me. That'll conclude our time for the JT Exchange podcast. Please like and follow.